This is The Bottom Line with Onimwa.
Hello there, and a very warm welcome to your program with your host, Bonimwa. Today, we shall be having on set the trailblazer of modern education in Cameroon, a business entrepreneur, a visionary, a philanthropist, and most importantly, perhaps, the chief executive officer of Capital Care in the United States of America.
This is The Bottom Line with Onimwa.
Mr. Paul Tizibong Atang, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Do all what I've said before actually tie in with your personality? Does that describe you as the person that you sit in front of me now?
How can I say it? I'm just Paul Tizibong Atang. And you've outlined what I do and what I've been doing. I don't know whether it's me or it's not me, but all I know is that it's the grace of God. And that's the big person behind everything I do, God.
Yes, as I said in the introduction of this conversation, that you are a trailblazer in modern education in Cameroon. You have put in place an educational project called the St. Mary's International College. And of course, there's the University Institute. Where was that motivation got from?
I went to Sacred Heart College, as you know. And as we all know, it's the leading institution in Cameroon and probably in most of Africa. And over the years, I realized that Cameroonians, parents, are yearning for quality education. Things have been going down. I studied at the University of Ibadan and studied in the US as well. And I could gather different experiences from all the schools and the countries I visited to bring back to my country, Cameroon. Now, with this need of parents to having a good institution where they could send their kids, I realized that I could merge the various ideas into one institution here at home, so that we will be looking inward rather than outwards. Many parents, as I know, have been sending their kids to schools in Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda, and struggling to send them overseas. But I said to myself, if I could bring what I've lived and learned elsewhere back home, that will help these parents to keep their children back at home and grow with them, and they will not be missing out in any aspect in their growth.
The facilities and infrastructure that we have here are definitely world class. I mean, were you not afraid of the present context of insecurity around here to set up this infrastructure?
I was not afraid, first, because I believe that when people see good things, they will support it. And that has been my experience ever since I started this project. Of course, I didn't take the grace of God for granted. I prayed, and after praying, I got my hands to work. And to my greatest surprise, everybody has been pleased and impressed with this project, because everybody's taking ownership of the project, and that is what we need. And that's what is seeing it through.
When you talk of praying and walking, which one comes first, the walk or the praying?
The praying comes first. The praying comes first because I put my faith first. And then I don't only stay with the prayers, I have to put the work after the prayers.
As a philanthropist, you have donated life-saving medical equipment to the St. Blaise Catholic Hospital in Banda. Was there a reason for you doing that as a philanthropist?
I was disappointed to learn that Monsignor Lafon, died because there was lack of, I think, oxygen, something like that, something which is very basic. So when I learned about that, I said to myself, if I could provide such a basic thing, it could save at least a life. And that is what drove me into acquiring that and a few other equipment to the hospital. I would not really call myself a philanthropist. I am just a channel through which God uses me to help his people.
Yes, but when you look, let me be honest with you, the Archbishop of the Banda Metropolitan Cathedral is very proud of you, because he actually, in one of my interviews with me, he said, if everybody was like you, Cameroon would have been a different place. How do you say, what do you say to that?
Well, if His Grace is proud of me, I feel very honored. And I thank Him for that, and I beg Him to continuously pray for me, because that's what I need. I will turn around and I'll say the same thing. This project has brought to me, or has shown me, many, many Cameroonians who really, really have a good will. They have gone out of their way to make sure that this project comes to where it is today. I could tell you many people, from the Director of Custom, Mr. Edwin Fongod, who within no time, when he got the application for exoneration, signed it. I could even tell you about His Excellency, the Prime Minister, John Gute, who received me in his office and continuously said, call this a peace project. I could tell you so many Cameroonians, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova, so many Cameroonians.
The Deputy Secretary General of the Presidency, Paul Elung.
Mr. Elung Paul, the Deputy Secretary General of the Presidency, who really, really loves this project and will go out of his way to make sure that it is a success. The Governor of the Southwest Province, many, many Cameroonians at home and abroad. And we just needed somebody to go against the wave, to come with something, and then many others are following. And I'm sure there are others who are looking at such a project and coming up with something. It's a beautiful country.
Mr. Atang, you are also the Chief Executive Officer of Capital Care, Inc., a renowned healthcare provider in the District of Columbia and Maryland that employs over 600 Africans and African Americans. How do you manage that one, and how did you create that company?
When I went to the US back in 1999 as an economist with the International Monetary Fund, I saw it as an opportunity to get into the world and get myself into a position whereby I could assist as many people as possible. So I worked with the IMF for 5.5 years, and to me it was a bit redundant. I wasn't really as creative as I thought I could be. So after 5.5 years, I made the bold decision of resigning against the wishes of my family and my friends.
Many people, they will not buy that idea for you resigning.
They did not. My family in particular was really like, what are you doing? And I was the one feeling it, because I wasn't able to express myself as I could. So I left, and I got into I had several ideas of businesses which I could start, and I did many of them, and they failed, but I kept on pushing, because as a man, as a family man, I needed to put bread on the table. So that fact that I had in my mind that I had to put the bread on the table kept me going on and on. I prayed and I kept on until when I got to the business which I have now. That was about 17 years ago. It was a breakthrough, and breakthrough again, because I would say the grace of God. Somebody I never knew, an African American, who believed in my anxiety and gave me the first set of people to take care of. which I grabbed, and with my ethics and my upbringing, I took it full scale, and from then, there's been no looking back.
You constantly refer to your upbringing, your ethics all the time when we're talking. Are you saying that this is what has actually shaped your life and put you where you are today?
Absolutely, yes. My experiences growing up has made me the person I am today. I actually know, and I can say that with confidence, how many people in the society feel, because I went through all those experiences, and it had always been my intention to correct many of the things which I went through in life as I was growing and that I didn't like. So I know what it is to suffer.
Yes, as a prominent business person in Cameroon, you operate facilities in the tourism sector in Bonamusa, the Bonaprizo, Douala and Dragash in Yaoundé. For the tourism sector, what motivated you to get into the tourism sector with these plushy apartments that we have spread in Douala and Yaoundé?
As I said, my experiences around the world made me realize that I could bring those things back to Cameroon. I lived in the US, I've traveled to many Western European countries, and I've stayed in various apartments there, and I came to the realization that we can also in Cameroon bring such facilities that people would actually love to live in. So, and that's why if you go to any of my apartments, I try to put it up to the standards that you would see in the West.
And the feedback you've been getting from your customers?
Excellent. Many of them are telling me that when they heard or they saw it, they never knew it was in Cameroon. Like what they are saying about this school. You know, people think it's a 3D internet creation, but when they come here, they say it's real. And
the reality on the ground is that when they see you, they cannot identify with the structure. They still say there is somebody behind.
And they are right. That somebody behind is God.
Back to the St. Mary International College that you are about to inaugurate, or have you already commissioned? Because we still want to know how it is operating. The infrastructure is of world class, as I said before. There's a chapel, a football field, basketball court, gymnasium, etc., etc. That must have cost you a lot of money. And where did you get the funding from?
There's not only a chapel, we are also putting up a mosque. Because no matter how you call it, we believe in a God. I call him God, others say Allah, others say Buddha, but there is a God. So just that correction, we are also adding a chapel.
Okay.
Now, the funding came from my personal savings. Over the years, it's an ambition which I've had, and so I worked towards it. I don't live an expensive life. I live a very modest and moderate life. And so that enables me to have a lot of savings. And I'm the kind of person that before I engage in any venture, I make sure I have the resources to carry it through, with a little bit of allowances just in case things happen.
Are you saying that you did not get loans or grants from the banks?
I never, because I absolutely do not. I'm an economist. I don't really believe in taking loans. Some say that's bad economics, but I say it's good economics, because once you take a loan, you're under pressure to pay it back, and so you do things not the right way, or you take not the right clients or students.
But taking a loan too is for your credibility, because people know that this is a viable structure that is based here, and they got loan from here, and we actually see him functioning. If you just come up with a project like this without taking loans, then I think that maybe you have some background deals.
Well, like I told you, I went to the US and started working with the IMF, and I've always had people I grew up with will know that ever since I was in high school, I am the kind of person that doesn't just waste money.
Yeah.
I save a lot for the future, and like I said, my upbringing enabled me be what I am today.
I'm 15 years old. I'm from Germany.
I'm from Banda, and I'm 14 years old.
I'm 12, and I come from the United States.
I'm
13 years old and I'm coming from Limbe.
I am 9 years old. I came from Douala.
I'm 17 years old and I'm from the north region of Cameroon.
I'm 12 and I come from Yaoundé.
I'm 14 years old. I'm from the United States, California, and I recently moved here to Douala, Cameroon about a year ago. I learned about how school here is much different than school in the US.
But my favorite place here is the music room because it's well equipped.
St. Mary has shown the best to us and has given us a lot of intelligence to understand more and better in life.
This is the bottom line with Onimwa.
Yes, I was talking about the institute being commissioned or preparing to commission it. Which one? Is it already officially commissioned or is this year that is going official?
The school begins this September. However, April 26th of this year, His Excellency, the Governor of the Southwest Province, did the
Southwest
launching.
Region, let me have it.
Southwest Region, I beg your pardon.
Southwest Region.
Southwest
right.
Region commissioned or launched this institution. He represented His Excellency, the Prime Minister, and so that is when it was launched. And Her Excellency, the Minister of Secondary Education, visited to make sure that everything was in place and in order a few weeks
So
after
officially
that.
we start this September this year?
Yes, officially we are going operational this September.
And the University Institute is still to follow suit. But we know that there are some basic tenets in opening a university that must be followed. And I want to cite some to see whether you've actually complied with that. We talked of a mission statement. You define your educational philosophy of the institution. Is that done already?
As a matter of fact, we have both the authorization to create and to open already. Every document is there. It went through the right channels, the Minister of Higher Education, the Prime Minister's office, and everything was approved a few months ago. I don't really like to rush things. I could have, this college section could have opened it since last year that I had the authorization to create and to open. But I'm the kind of person who takes his time to do something and do it well. So I did not rush. I took this year to get the pedagogical aspect of the school in order, in place, so that once we launch in September, everything will flow with efficiency. And that's the same way I'm doing with the university. I had the authorization like 3 months ago, and it's not a matter of rushing, it's a matter of quality. So beginning November, once the college has settled for a few weeks, we will start hiring and putting in place every aspect of the university, so that come next year, middle of next year, we would launch, we'll open the university.
For people watching us on television now, you're telling me that the University Institute will actually be operational next year?
Yes.
Middle of next year?
Yes.
Yes, and I want to come back to the description of you in some quarters. Some people say you are a worthy son of Cameroon, who is always seeking solutions to the country's and continent's problems. How true is this description? A worthy son of Cameroon, always seeking solutions to the continent's and country's problems. How true is this?
I agree with that. I agree with that, because oftentimes we criticize even when we don't know the solution, even when we know the solution and we don't help in giving the solution. So I'm the kind of person that I see a problem and I try my best to fix it, because at the end of the day, this is our country. We don't have any other country but this country.
Yes, and we know that you are a part of the diaspora. We know that there are some people in the diaspora who are actually following the flames of violence, anger in Cameroon. When you meet them, what do you tell them? I mean, because we are going through some very trying moments in Cameroon because of part of the diaspora. I'm not saying you, but part of the diaspora. So what do you tell them when you meet them?
It is so true. What you said is so true. It's rather unfortunate that many people in the diaspora are doing what you just said, and they are playing with the ignorance of many people back at home. I hope and I pray, like I tell these people in the US and Europe, I say, you are in the comfort of another man's land. Your kids are going to school. You are living a luxurious life. Meanwhile, you are not an island. You didn't come from nowhere.
From nowhere,
You
right.
came from somewhere, and you have your roots. It doesn't help you to play on the ignorance of the people back home. Rather than, we have problems in Cameroon, which is true, like anywhere else on earth. But the way we are going about trying to fix the problems is not the appropriate way. It's good to pick out the problems, but let's see how we can solve it. And that's what I tell them. I said, yes. And both sides are to blame for this situation. Both sides, that's the government.
On the ground, the government and the guys.
Yes, both sides are to blame. And I'm just hoping and praying that sooner than later, we would both realize that that is the problem, and this is how together we can fix it.
Yes, but the good news coming from the US is that for the past couple of years now, the information that we used to get in the social media is not as viral as it was before. It is like the climate, it is actually coming down to, and people are beginning to understand that they cannot be using the social media to fan the flames of violence back home. Is that your understanding too?
Yes, and that's a reflection of also what is happening back at home also. People are starting to realize that they've been used for a long time in the wrong way. And so people are taking their rightful position now. But I'm hoping that sooner than later, all parties will sit, agree, and talk.
Yes, I was coming to that. I mean, if you were asked, how can we get that sustainable peace that all of us are clamoring for? What can be done for us to have that sustainable peace?
What I will say, which I've always been thinking about, is that there should be genuine dialogue. The president should be said that nobody will be punished at the end of the day. If you tell all sides that come and let's talk how we're going to fix this country, knowing that you are not going to go to jail, you're not going to be punished because of your honesty. I believe that people will come and talk, and then everybody will sit and agree on the way forward. But once people are scared that they will be locked up, or they will,
like some who are in the diaspora feeling that they have been blacklisted, they cannot come to Cameroon.
Yes, if they know honestly that they would come, sit and talk, and even people within Cameroon knowing that they would talk, whether they are in the government or not in the government, they would talk, bring back whatsoever they can bring back to this country, right? And then we'll fix it without any negative consequences. I believe that things will change.
I know you are not a political actor per se, but we know that we have elections that are coming up next year in Cameroon, presidential elections. What is your take on that?
My take on that is that personally, I don't really care who is the president of the country. I don't really care. What I care is for my local community. I would always advocate for a smaller government. Let whosoever is the president provide us with infrastructure and security, and let the private citizens run the businesses.
And it is also been mooted in some quarters that this is the time for an English-speaking Cameroonian to become a president of this country, or that an Anglophone, somebody from the English-speaking extraction background, should be president of Cameroon. What do you say about that?
That's a point of view which I respect. But I'm not of the school of thought of that it is my turn or your turn. Let it be whosoever is qualified to do the job, and that can do the job. It can be an Anglophone, it can be a Francophone. It's going to be a Cameroonian, right? But I want whosoever is qualified, that has the passion. Personally, going through history, if you look at the Asian countries, they are where they are today because they had benevolent dictators. I am for that. I am for a leader that will force onto us what is good. Because at the moment, we are where we are because we need such a benevolent person who is a dictator that will push us into doing what we have to do.
Yeah, because when we look around, we have urban disorder, we have the roads that are in bad shape. Everybody thinks he or she can do it, but if somebody comes who can tell us this is how to be, it has to be done, and we follow it, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, and that's what Mao did in China in the late 70s. You want a loan for business, he will give you the loan, but gives you conditions. If you don't meet those conditions, you are locked up. We need those kinds of leaders.
And with all the projects that are functional now or that are still in the pipeline, it's like we have not heard the last of you. There are still things to be done.
If God gives me life, yes.
But there are some people in Banda, your northwest, where you come from, who think that maybe you don't really think about them, that things like this too would have been done in Banda or somewhere else too in Cameroon.
My primary residence is in Banda. I spend 3/4 of my time in Banda. Yes, truly. Someday, my intention is to put something like this in Banda. I actually spoke with the chief of Banda, who is showing me some pieces of land. Truly, we have to decentralize things. We don't have to put everything only in one particular area, yes. So those plans are in the pipeline.
And this structure, when we look at this code, it is like the fees and those who will be coming for enrollment will be like children of the big guns, maybe the spoiled children. How will you filter them? I mean, for them to know that where they are coming, it's a place of education and nothing but education.
I beg to differ with the idea that students that are going to enroll here are those of the big guns. You will be surprised that Cameroonians, parents, responsible parents, of which many Cameroonians are willing to actually pay for the education of their kids. We are not charging anything high.
People talk of the fees being prohibitive in the tune of about 3 million francs.
If you consider the fact that there are day schools in Douala and Yaoundé, 7:30 to 3 p.m., that they pay 7 million francs, and they don't have a quarter of the facilities that we have here. They've not invested as much as we've invested in training the teachers, then you would see that it's a giveaway. And again, rather than having a low quality education for your child and charging peanuts, we rather give them quality education that they will be competitive with the rest of the world, because that's the objective. You know, we have to show that the Cameroonian child can do better than the Chinese or the American. Why should a child, or a student, choose to come here at the St. Mary's International College and going elsewhere to Sacred Heart, St. B, to other places? Do you have opportunities for jobs after they must have completed here, or maybe for further education? Okay, you know, at the dawn of independence, the educational system that was brought to Africa was to train us to be secretaries. And we are moving away from that mentality. This institution is focusing mostly on creativity, on bringing out the best of the students. We are not creating employees here. We're not going to train employees. We're going to train employers, people that can be creative and useful to themselves and to the society. So just that thinking, just that idea encourages parents and the students to come here, because they're going to explore their minds and they could explore the world. Yes, but one would have thought that maybe emphasis would have been put on technical education, vocational and technical education, and the general education that maybe we did in the past. Yes, and that is why we have a very strong technical and commercial section, because the world as we know it now is technical education. When we're growing up, the students who went to technical schools, especially us, the Anglophones, were the dull ones. That's true. You know, if you didn't do well, your father would say, I'm going to send you to technical school. Meanwhile, that is what runs the world today. And that is why many parents are focusing on that because it helps the kids become productive to themselves and the society.
Thank you for talking to The Bottom Line.
Thank you very much.
I'm 15 years old. I'm from Germany.
I'm from Banda and I'm 14 years old.
I'm 12 and I come from the United States.
I'm 13 years old and I'm coming from Limbe. I am 9 years old. I came from Douala.
I'm 17 years old and I'm from the North region of Cameroon.
I'm 12 and I come from Yaoundé.
I'm 14 years old. I'm from the United States, California, and I recently moved here to Douala, Cameroon about a year ago. I learned about how school here is much different than school in the US.
But my favorite place here is the music room because it's well equipped.
St. Mary has shown the best to us and has given us a lot of intelligence to understand more and better in life.
This is The Bottom Line with Onimwa.